In this past week I have seen a small yet sudden surge in my subscriber base, and before I move on to discuss this video's main topic, I'd just like to say, hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Mark, and this little channel is here for me to try and involve myself with the worldwide atheist community by means of screaming at the camera when I'm frustrated, scripting questions out when I have a qualm, and also as a way of playing around with a few animations and whatnot. But mainly it's a way of connecting with like-minded people. Thank you all so much for subscribing, and thanks for watching and commenting on my videos, and I hope that I can keep you interested. Moving on, today I noticed an article on TheAtheistHub that read, Alain de Botton, if I'm pronouncing that right, the philosopher and writer that has published a new version of the Ten Commandments for atheists. He called it his list for life, and here is that list. Number 1, resilience, keeping going even when things are looking dark. I can't argue with that. Number 2, empathy, the capacity to connect imaginatively with the sufferings and unique experiences of another person. Patience, we should grow calmer and more forgiving by being more realistic about how things actually happen. And so far, so good. Sacrifice, we won't ever manage to raise a family, love someone, or save the planet if we don't keep up with the art of sacrifice. Politeness, politeness is closely linked to tolerance, the capacity to live alongside people whom one will never agree with, but at the same time cannot avoid. Humour, like anger, humour springs from disappointment, but it is disappointment optimally channeled. Self-awareness, to know oneself is to try not to blame others for one's troubles and moods, to have a sense of what's going on inside oneself and what actually belongs to the world. Number 8, forgiveness, it's recognizing that living with others is not possible without excusing errors. Number 9, hope, pessimism is not necessarily deep or optimism shallow. Number 10, confidence. Confidence is not arrogance, rather it is based on a constant awareness of how short life is and how little we will ultimately lose from risking everything. Dear God, you can almost hear the Christians sharpening their blades. Deafening screams of plagiarism aside, I think that this is a great list of behaviours to strive for. I mean, who can argue against being empathetic and optimistic? And as much as some existentialist atheists might want to fight against it, there is a rapidly growing movement rallying behind this idea of skeptical atheism, and it seems sensible, I feel, to define a code of conduct to which all atheists, should they choose to of course, to aim for. This isn't some totalitarian rule book in which violation leads to an eternity of hellfire we're talking about here, but a great set of behavioural guidelines for being just a good person. And I often hear and read that atheism is becoming a new religion, and people who say this use examples like these to back their claim. And why wouldn't they? Atheists congregating on Sundays and having their own version of the Ten Commandments? Christians do that, and Christianity is a religion. Of course, forgetting that, as I said before, in general, religion demands compliance with the dogma of a particular deity for fear of punishment. Atheism does not. However, religion has shown to have some cultural benefits in some of its traditions that reinforce communal and familial bonds, and atheism, up to yet, does not. Why should atheists abstain from holding shared values past that not of believing in God or gods? I think it's just childish to denounce any form of community as a religious trait. In my mind, I don't see atheism as the new religion. I see atheism as something that is replacing religion, because it's probably the only thing that can. And all I have to say to the Christians who feel that these actions are plagiarized from their religion, you might want to actually look at your own religion and notice the similarities between it and many other religions and cultural traditions, dating back to thousands of years before Christianity even existed. And I'd also like to see you treat the rabid plagiarism that plagues Christian tradition with the same contempt if you truly feel that we are just a bunch of dirty tradition-stealing whores. I think that these guidelines are a great idea for atheists to rally behind, and I for one will be doing so anyway. Thanks for watching, subscribe if you liked it, and please make a comment if you feel you have something to add.